Namaste. Welcome to the Ilongga Yogi Podcast. My name is Kate and I'm from Iloilo City. I'm a certified yoga instructor and certified in mental health counseling. I share content on yoga, mindfulness, fitness, mental health, self-care, and healing. Before we get into it, I want to let you know that I teach classes both in person and online. So if you're interested in taking a class with me, just head over to bookwen.com/healing-iloilo for the schedule and rates and to book as well. Hello, another life update as we start this episode. First of all is I'm actually pretty sick right now. Definitely been feeling, I guess, tired for the past week or so, and I haven't been moving as much just because I've been very tired. So there's been that, and definitely came down with something in the last couple of days. So I've just been isolating myself, resting here at home, barely going out as much unless I really need to, like if I had to teach a class. Just because if I can still show up and speak properly and still hold a class, I still will. It's definitely hard as a teacher, as a yoga teacher, to cancel classes all the time. So as long as I can, I try my best to show up. But that's kind of what's been happening lately, just a little sick, but I've been managing. And I think it's because I haven't been getting that much sleep because my dog, one of my dogs, just gave birth, and that was in August, the first day of August. So on August 1, several days ago, she finally gave birth. We knew that she was pregnant because I did know that something already happened that be very unfortunate, and throughout her pregnancy, we've been very stressed, thinking that she might have very big puppies and she might have a hard time giving birth because the puppy daddy is not the same breed as her. It's a special breed. um, Basically just a larger dog, and we've been very nervous about that, knowing how much CS costs, and then knowing the aftercare of that, like how I would have to feed the puppies myself, especially if she had CS. So it was kind of a little stressful, but we were very, very lucky that that didn't happen. It was kind of funny because we got 2 x-rays. So the first x-ray, it showed that the puppies were still too little, too young. So the vets told us to come back in 2 weeks because that might be the time that she is due, because we don't have an exact date. And then so we came back 2 weeks later, 2 weeks on the dot, the 2 Mondays after. We went to get an x-ray, and we just wanted to make sure that the puppies were a certain size that they could fit through normal delivery. And we also wanted to know how many puppies there would be, because I knew that I would be giving birth I would help her give birth on my own. And so we had that checked, and they all said it was 6 puppies. But at the same time, I wasn't quite sure, just because I felt her tummy was very, very big. And the next day, the day after we got the x-ray, she gave birth the morning of. And it was really funny because we were both in bed. Me and my husband were in bed. And so the night before, Chanel is her name. Chanel was I guess her usual self throughout the pregnancy, kind of wanting to be beside us, kind of clingy, kind of not really sure what she wants because we can't understand her. So she's been all over the place during her pregnancy. So on that night, the night before she gave birth, she climbed up into bed with us. She wanted to be beside us. She was just going a little crazy, kind of digging through the bed. So I guess that was already a sign. And so all of a sudden, 4 in the morning, both of us heard a puppy crying. So we jumped out of bed, and then she was right beside me on the floor. So when I looked down at her, there was already a puppy. So So me and my husband were kind of panicking. I was like, oh my God, it's already there. And we were both like nervous, but also really happy that she was able to do it on her own and that the puppy was safe, the first one. So, yeah, it was kind of, it was really funny. And I just kind of told June, because June was like, what do you need? What do you need? I was like, just go get the pee pads and everything, and just like paper towels, alcohol, that kind of stuff. And this time around, it was definitely much easier. She was able to give birth really like faster than she did the first time, and I guess that's probably normal because she's already, had the experience, so she knows kind of what to do. So I just assisted her the entire time, and she does have 6 pups. They're all very healthy, which is something that she didn't have the last time, since with her first pregnancy it was with her half brother. So we knew that there were going to be abnormalities, which it was true. She had the 7 pups, but only 5 of them survived during when she gave birth, and then afterwards, a few of them died as well. So this time around, they're all very healthy. They all look so cute, and we have like 4 girls and 2 boys. The last time we were hoping to get more girls because I was gonna keep a girl if she did have a girl. Like I wanted to keep a girl, and we wanted to give away girls too, but she had a lot of boys during that time. So unfortunately, we did have to keep one boy. So because of all this, we did have to neuter all, or which one is it, spay or neuter? I'm not sure, but we basically had to neuter all the boys here in the household so that she's safe from that, including her child Tommy, just so that we're on the safe side, because I don't want that to happen again. So, and we are gonna keep the girls. I don't know how many we're gonna keep. We'll just see, and after like a couple of months when they're full grown, and like whoever wants them, we are very much willing to give them away. But definitely we'll keep a girl this time around, because that way there are no more accidents. So that's what's been happening. And because I have been taking care of her, I think this time around she's just like over it. I think she's just like really tired of being a mom to them. She's like asking for my help sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. There's only so much I can do. So yeah, we're definitely gonna figure it out. But yeah, I haven't had that much rest or that much sleep, like straight sleep, since then. So I think that's why like I got kind of sick because of that. But it's all fine, because at least I don't have like any classes. I don't have anything to do right now. I just have to stay at home, and rest and recover. So I'm good with that. I'm fine with that. And so right now, besides the fact that I am having to take care of Chanel, I'm also kind of doing it alone, because June, my husband, he is in Manila right now for a competition. He is not there to compete, he's there to coach. So yeah, I mean, I'm very happy for him that he's there. Um, I I have went back and forth if I should come with him or not, but I'm glad that I stayed, because I know that I need to take care of Chanel. And when you're, I guess now that we're married, you just kind of think of a lot more responsibilities, and you don't want to unnecessarily spend when you don't really have to. And since I will be there in Manila in a few months' time, I might as well just reserve what I would have spent, for that trip, um, and reserve it for like the October trip that I have planned. So basically, that's kind of where I'm at. So he's there and I'm here, and it's been a good few days so far, just like spending time at home, spending time with the dogs, recovering and resting because, of what I've been feeling lately. But yeah, and besides that, I also wanted to share with you that last month I did go on a quick trip to Boracay, and that was one of the most, honestly and ironically, healing trips I've ever experienced, or I guess like eye-opening trips for me. So during that time, I was very, very burnt out from teaching. A few weeks before that, I was already like crying in the car before a class. I just knew that I could not like show up for another class unless I took a break. So because of that, I tried to, I guess, invite a few friends, and if they wanted to come, then that would be great. If they didn't want to come, I knew that I was still going to take a break and go somewhere somehow. And they were willing to come along. We were able to convince them. So it was me and three other friends, just the four of us, and we did a quick trip to Boracay. We actually just commuted going there, which is very easy for us when you live in Iloilo, although it is a long drive. Usually when you drive on your own, it would probably take only 4 hours if you drive pretty quickly. But since we had to commute and we took a bus, it did take a lot longer. So it was like 6 hours of traveling. But it's not bad. I mean, you're just in the bus and it's very comfortable. The buses are very cold here, so you'll easily fall asleep. And so it was very spontaneous, but it was like the best feeling to be in Boracay again, and to just like enjoy something like so nice and so beautiful that's not so far from home. And I was able to really relax and enjoy myself. And I was very chill all throughout the time, even though I was not with my partner. Usually, when I travel alone or when I travel without my partner, I get very anxious beforehand. But for this one, I felt pretty good about it because I knew I really, really needed it. And so, I learned a lot during this trip, even if it was a very quick trip. And I honestly am very, very grateful for it because this trip, besides it like being very healing for me when I felt very burnt out, I did learn a lot from the people I was with, because so these people I don't usually travel with, and they don't usually travel with friends either that often. They shared that with us, and so it was really nice to have them there and to experience that trip with them. And through that trip, I was able to value them even more, even though we are not like really, really, really close, like we're not like besties or anything like that. But the fact that, for me, I see them as very good people and important people in my life. I was able to learn so much from them. It definitely changed my perspective in terms of a lot of things. I tell you, like, I was going through a lot, like, before this trip. And because of this trip, like, I learned so much of my perspective changed just because of this quick trip. And I couldn't have been more thankful for that. And not only that, but because during this trip was actually the time that I started to take medication. And so if you haven't noticed yet by now, but this episode is all about antidepressants. And so during this time, a day before I left for Boracay was the first day I started to take antidepressants. So what happened was, a week before that, I decided to see a psych. So I've been seeing a therapist online for several months because I knew that for the past few months, like ever since the beginning of this year, I knew I needed like extra support to just help me through a lot of things. I've been going through a lot of things since late last year, as you may already know, and I've been doing everything I can in my power to like figure it out, to process through it, to just keep living and move forward and all that, and just a lot of these things. And I just was still struggling, like definitely still having a hard time with it. So first was to do therapy, and I started doing that, but it still felt like it wasn't enough. Like I still felt like I struggled with everything every single day still. I would have good days, I would have bad days, but most of the time I was definitely having a hard time, and I was like just going up and down a lot and didn't really know why. And so I kind of suggested it to my therapist that time. Like I asked her if I should, book a session with a doctor, with a psych, and she definitely agreed with me. She said, yeah, go ahead, try it out. And so I did. Finally, I booked a session, and I was really happy about that session too, because, usually when you book for sessions on the site, you get to choose who you want. So there's like a list of either therapists or doctors, and then you get to choose who you want based on their description. And so because how the demand of psychs are here in the Philippines, if I chose who I actually really wanted, it would have taken like a month or two before I would have booked a session. So I just decided to choose like choose randomly, where you have that option of just like, choose whoever is available next, So that's what I did, and turned out that this doctor was available like in a few days. I think it was like the next day or something. And so I did that. I think Sunday, it was a Sunday actually, I remember. And so because of that, I wasn't sure who I was going to have. I wasn't sure, if we were going to be a good fit or anything, but I was just like open to the experience. I've seen so many doctors already in my life that I know this experience very well already. So I had the session, and actually I really, really liked my psych a lot because, as I've said, I've been to a lot of doctors already in my life, a lot of psychs. And I've experienced different types of people and how they conduct their sessions and how they conduct things with their patients and everything. And this time around, I really appreciated how he took the time to explain everything to me. He took the time to really listen to me and gave me the space I needed to I guess open up if I wanted to. And he definitely explained everything I needed to know in terms of the antidepressants, knowing my history with antidepressants, because last time that I took antidepressants, it was Lexapro, and I didn't have a great experience with that. It wasn't fun for me at all. So it was really helpful that he kind of assured me that, this time around it's going to be different. This is definitely much better. So you could kind of give it a try and all these things. So I went ahead and did that. And so I basically experienced, the adjustment period while I was in Boracay. And honestly, I feel like that was the best thing to do because, it was like being in Boracay. I don't have work there. I don't have to do much. I can just like relax and enjoy myself and surround myself with the beach and the sun and everything. So it 100% helped me to just get to know the side effects and like get to know how this new medication is going to affect me, how this new medication is changing my body, my mind. So it was a really, really good idea. Honestly, I'm really glad that I did have that I was lucky enough to be in Boracay while I was going through this transition period, because, we know how antidepressants and medication can be a little rough sometimes. So definitely, for the first time in my life, I said yes to taking meds, even though like all my life I've kind of sworn off of it because of my experience in the past, and because in the past I was able to heal myself and manage my mental health with other means. But this time around, especially since late last year, I've noticed that I've tried everything like in my toolbox, quote unquote, and nothing has seemed to work. You know me, I share all about that here all the time, all the things that I try to do, all the things that I do every single day to help my mental health. And for some reason, this time around, it just wasn't working out at all. And so I knew that something needed to change. And this is why I finally just said yes to taking antidepressants. Let's take a quick break from this episode to talk about my juice brand, Daily Greens. If you're in Iloilo City and looking for healthy juice that doesn't have any added sugar, no preservatives, and is packed with a variety of vegetables and fruits, then you should try Daily Greens. With 2 flavors, Greens Blend, a blend of 11 vegetables and fruits, and Carrots Blend, which is 50% carrots and a mix of other vegetables and fruits. This is unlike any other juice sold on the market. Most juices are packed with more fruits to help it taste better, but completely miss the point of being a nutritious and healthy drink. Remember, fruits are still filled with sugar and must be enjoyed in controlled portions. Daily Greens make sure that you get the most out of a bottle, packing it with more vegetables than fruits and making it fresh, not to mention affordable for everyone. You can enjoy a bottle or 2 every day, which is perfect if your goal is to maintain healthy yet easy habits in the long run. You can order from Healthy Kitchen, Salads and Wraps, Storm Cafe, Mamaka, and other establishments. This is your sign to start building healthier habits in the most convenient way with daily greens. So now that you have the backstory of me taking antidepressants, now it's time to talk about the side effects. So first of all, currently I am taking, what am I taking? Prodin. Prodin. It's so fluoxetine is also known as Prozac and other in like the US, but here I am taking the brand Prodin, I believe. And so for some reason, like when I heard that it was also known as Prozac, I kind of just felt more comfortable with that because it's something very familiar to me. And you know, I hear a lot of people take it. So my first impression was that okay, I think this is gonna be okay. And you know, from the moment that I was prescribed this, I didn't really look into it right away. I didn't like research right away because I knew that I might get anxious about it. But after a while, like after I took that first pill, my first one, I felt okay. And there was nothing new. And I even like debated to, you know, even though I had the meds with me already, I asked my partner, do you think I should take them? What do you think about this? And he was just like very supportive of me. He told me that, you know, whatever you need to do to help you right now, I'm okay with that. And we just have to see how it, you know, how it all plays out. So, for me, I felt the same way, that it's like I really needed something already to help me. And this was kind of like my last resort already. And so after taking that first pill, I decided to look up online, like, okay, what should I expect? All these things. And like, honestly, I was getting like a lot of mixed reviews because everyone has had kind of slightly different experiences with it. You know, sometimes I would go through a few videos on TikTok that tell them that it's been like the best thing that's happened for them, and like I would read all the comments. There would be others that kind of say that they've lost so much weight on it, others have gained so much weight on it, others get really sleepy because of it, others can't sleep. So it's just like been very mixed. And it definitely depends on each person, but it felt good because most of the time I would read a lot of comments saying that, you know, it's been the best thing, they're really happy about it, they've been taking it for this long already. And so all the more that made me want to just say, okay, let me just give it a try. I can always choose to bail out if I wanted to. There's nothing to worry about. So there. So when I first took it, I was okay throughout the whole day. But when I was about to sleep already, which was kind of already late because I was packing for Boracay and we had to wake up very early the next day. So when I tried to fall asleep, all I could hear was like a very loud ringing in my head. And then I noticed that I had a little bit of pain in my head, like more in the back of the head. And then I had a hard time sleeping. Like I could not get myself to fall asleep, you know. So even though I was very tired, I just couldn't fall asleep. And I couldn't stay asleep either. So that first night was definitely rough. I barely got any sleep. And then the next day when we woke up super early because we wanted to catch the first bus to Caticlan, I noticed too that in the bus, I also could not like fall asleep. So typically me, I don't have any problems with sleep at all. Like I really don't have any issues with sleep. Usually whenever I want to fall asleep anywhere, anytime in the world, I would just use yoga nidra meditations and I would instantly like doze off. Like it would not be that hard at all. And I would always like pride myself of how I never had an issue with jet lag in more recent years whenever I would travel, because I just like fall asleep so easily. So when I had started to have this problem with the meds, I was definitely very worried about it because I didn't want insomnia to be an issue for me, because that's going to make me go crazy. So I was just kind of like a little worried about that. But yeah, I noticed I had a very hard time falling asleep and staying asleep, even though I would listen to the usual yoga nidra meditations I had. And while I was in Boracay, I noticed that, you kind of feels like you're not in your body. It just feels like it's not my body type of feeling. Next is I had no appetite, like no appetite. If I didn't remind myself that I needed to eat throughout the day, I could honestly skip a lot of meals. I could honestly not eat at all throughout the day. But since we were in Boracay, and I know that, that was the goal, to have a food trip, I would still eat. But I definitely could tell how my appetite has changed. It's definitely craving less, and eating less as well. And until now, like, it's already been almost a month, I believe, and my cravings are definitely very, very low, and I can't like eat as much as I used to. It's like something stopping me from eating, and sometimes like I don't even have any appetite to eat at all. And I know that's very different from how it used to be, because like usually when I'm about to get my period, or when I'm ovulating, my craving is just off the charts. Like, I just want to eat everything, and I'm constantly eating. But this time around, it was definitely very different. Of course, the constant yawning that happens a lot. But and lastly is my clenched jaw. That's another thing that I've noticed. Like, I clench my jaw a lot, even when I'm not aware of it. So I could definitely feel that a lot in my jaw. But now that it's already been almost a month, pretty much, yeah, almost a month, those symptoms, those side effects actually subsided after a few days. So it didn't even last a week. And I was reading online at first that it would like last several weeks, maybe even several months. So I was kind of worried about that, but I just didn't want to think about it too much. But honestly, when I came back from Boracay, I was able to sleep really well. What I did was, when I was in Boracay, I decided to take cetirizine to help me sleep at night, and that really did help. I felt so much better the next day to have finally gotten some sleep. And when I got back from Boracay, I tried to experiment not taking cetirizine and seeing if I would still be able to fall asleep, and I did. And since then, I haven't had any problems with sleeping that I feel are caused by my meds. I don't have the ringing in my head that much anymore. I don't have the pain in my head. I don't feel like I'm not in my body anymore. I definitely feel a lot more like, I just feel like happier. I feel my mind is just like in a good place. Like, I feel happy. I feel enthusiastic about things. I've noticed that just in less than a month, my anxiety has gone. It's like no longer there. Like, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, but also pretty amazing how it works that way. Like, for some reason, my antidepressants definitely have quieted down my mind a lot, because like before, I would just like have anxiety about everything, about so many things all at once. Everything would just like worry me, stress me out. But ever since I took the meds, I just don't have that anymore. Like, my mind doesn't go there anymore. I don't know how that works, but it definitely has worked for me. And what I've also noticed is that even on days when I am feeling really tired or lazy, I don't spiral either. Like, my mind just doesn't go to a dark place anymore. And that's really amazing to me, because I never knew how that meds could do that. I thought it would just like make you feel better and feel good about yourself, but I guess for some reason it definitely helped keep my mind be in a better place and not go to places where it shouldn't go. And like, even if like I've been in bed the whole day because I've been resting before taking meds, I would have hated myself for this. I would have felt really bad, but I kind of, I'm okay with it. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And so it's been really good. I'm really, really thankful that this was like the first dosage that I've had with the meds, the first brand, the first type of antidepressants, and everything has been going so well so far. And the side effects didn't last that long, and I've had a very, very good experience with it so far. So much better than my first experience with Lexapro. So I am very, very happy about this. So now that I've been taking it for almost a month, what's next? What now? Well, I do plan to continue taking these for as long as I can. And I'm gonna keep doing it. I know that there are people out there who kind of stop taking it when they feel a lot better, and so I know to not do that because it's not fun. It's not going to be good. So I'm definitely going to keep going, keep taking these until I can't anymore. Because here's the thing, before, what would have stopped me from taking meds is because I knew of the adjustment period as you start taking them, and as you start weaning off of it, because I know that there will come a time that might happen. And so I know that when that time comes, it's gonna be very, very rough and it's not gonna be fun. But if this is what it will take to give me a bit of like peace of mind right now at the present, I'm gonna take it. And that's why I am still taking it, right now, because it has changed me so much, and it has changed my mental health so much, and I don't think I could have done this alone this time around. Also, before I started taking meds, I did mention it in one of the episodes before this, that I was kind of dealing with a certain health issue that we couldn't really understand what it was. That was kind of, it had to do with my heart, palpitations, all that kind of stuff. So we had to run like different tests, but they couldn't find anything. And actually, ever since I started taking my antidepressants, I haven't had severe palpitations anymore. So I definitely am thinking that it had to do with the anxiety and the stress. So I'm happy about that I have less palpitations, but definitely will continue just working on my new routine now, and finding one that suits me better, but is still flexible and that makes me feel good. And then that's still like an ongoing process, especially right now, since I'm trying to support Chanel and her pups and everything. Like, I don't think I can follow the same routine I used to have. So I've just been adjusting a little bit here and figuring it out. But the good thing is that I feel a lot more positive and optimistic about it, unlike how I felt before without the antidepressants. So actually, before I end this episode, I do want to leave you with a few tips, especially for those who might be taking meds or thinking about taking meds, or struggling like I was, but not really sure what to do. First of all, as I've always said in the past and in everything that I put out, there is not just only one way to manage our mental health. There was a time in my life where I took antidepressants, and there was a time in my life where I didn't take antidepressants, but still was able to manage and cope with my mental health. And, choosing not to take medication, it's going to be a more challenging journey, definitely, because you'll have to learn to ride the ups and downs. You have to learn to face all of the nasty stuff, but that's also what will make you so much stronger and so much more capable of just like dealing with everything that life throws at you, and what's good about it is you don't really depend on anything, right? But of course, there comes a time, like for me now at present, where I needed more help. I needed extra support, and that's why I decided to take the route of having meds, of having antidepressants. And so far it has worked for me, which allows me to stay productive, to keep healthy relationships with everyone, and to be healthy myself. So there are many ways to address our mental well-being, honestly. Bottom line is that you have to put in the effort and commit to taking care of yourself. So whichever journey you choose, just make sure that you put in the effort and that you commit to taking care of yourself. Second is that you have to prepare for the transition period or the adjustment period. Whether you like it or not, that's going to happen. So you have to make space in your life for that. So, you have to let go of a few things, say no to a few things, make space in your day to ensure that you have enough time for yourself to just transition, especially if you start taking meds, or if, let's say, you choose to not take meds. You have to give yourself enough time every day to just take care of your mind, to journal, to prioritize self-care. Second, or third rather, know the consequences of your choices. So for me, I knew that choosing to take antidepressants, I would experience side effects, and that if I needed to stop taking them as well, I would also have to go through another transition period. So I was very much aware of that. Same in the past. Choosing to not take medication, I knew that it was going to be a lot harder. It was going to be a lot tougher, but I was willing to take that rather than taking medication at that time. So just know like the consequences of your choices, because when you fully accept that and you fully know what's ahead, you will stand by your decision no matter what. Next is finding support. I've always found support in terms of my mental health. I'm very lucky for that. And even now, with my partner, he's very supportive. He really doesn't, for him, this is my life. Whatever I do with my life, it's up to me. And so if he knows that this is doing better for me, and this has improved my life, then he is going to be happy. So definitely finding support. And I've also made sure to tell a few people in my life that I'm starting to take antidepressants, so that they are aware, and so if ever I need anything from them, I can easily approach them. So finding support is also very important. And lastly, to just never give up on yourself. Never give up on yourself. I was so close to giving up on myself many times, and I'm so glad that I made the decision to ask for help, to go to a doctor, and then to take medication. Because if I didn't, could you imagine, I would probably still be struggling to this day. I would probably be crying here in bed alone. It would have not been fun at all. So I'm glad that I did not give up on myself. So I would say the same to you: never give up on yourself. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ilongga Yogi Podcast. If you'd like more similar content, you can learn more on my blog and socials, which will be linked in the show notes. Wishing you peace in the body, peace in the mind, and peace in your heart wherever you are. Always take care of yourself.